There were moments in my life when I felt like God had forgotten about me. I waited and prayed, wondering if my prayers would ever be answered. But in those quiet moments of despair, I learned a powerful truth. God is never late. He will bless you in His perfect time. Life has a way of testing our patience, especially when we are waiting for something our hearts deeply desire. But God's timing is impeccable, and though it may seem delayed, it is always precise. His blessings arrive exactly when we need them. Waiting is never easy, especially in a world that thrives on instant gratification. But God's timeline is not our timeline. His plans are higher, and His purposes are greater. Trusting in His timing can transform our waiting into a season of growth and anticipation. There were days when I felt like giving up, thinking that God had overlooked my pleas, but every time I reached the brink of despair, a gentle reminder from the Lord would reassure me, "My child, I am never late. Hold on, for your blessing is on the way." Reflecting on my journey, I can now see how every delay was orchestrated by God for a purpose. Each moment of waiting refined my character, strengthened my faith, and prepared me for the blessings that were to come. God is always right on time. 6. I remember yearning for a breakthrough, feeling trapped in a cycle of unanswered prayers. The waiting seemed endless, and doubts began to creep in. But in those moments, I clung to the promise that God's timing is perfect. It was during one of the darkest seasons of my life that I experienced God's timely intervention. Just when I thought I couldn't go on, He opened doors I never knew existed and brought blessings that surpassed my expectations. My story is one of waiting and hoping, of praying and trusting. There were countless nights of tears and prayers, but through it all, I learned that God's delays are not denials. He was working behind the scenes, preparing something extraordinary for me. There were times when I felt like the world was moving forward while I was stuck in the same place. But looking back, I realized that God was teaching me patience and resilience, molding me into the person I needed to be for His blessings. The journey was long and arduous, filled with moments of doubt and fear. But God's faithfulness never wavered. He carried me through the storm and revealed His perfect plan at the right moment. 11. God's timing often feels mysterious and unpredictable, but it is always for our good. He knows the desires of our hearts and orchestrates every detail to align with His divine purpose. We often rush through life, wanting everything to happen on our schedule. But God's timeline is eternal, and His plans are meticulously crafted to bring about the best outcomes for us. In my moments of waiting, I learned to surrender my timeline to God. I began to trust that His timing, though different from mine, was infinitely better and more fulfilling. God's delays are not punishments, but opportunities for us to grow in faith and character. Every moment of waiting is a chance to deepen our relationship with Him and to trust in His sovereign will. Through the years of waiting, I discovered that God's timing is always tied to His purpose. He sees the bigger picture and knows precisely when to bring our prayers to fruition. 16. The waiting process can be excruciating, but it is in those times that we learn the most about ourselves and about God. It is in the waiting that we find our strength and faith being tested and refined. Each delay, each moment of longing taught me to lean on God more fully. It was in the waiting that I learned the beauty of trusting in His promises, even when they seemed distant. The journey of waiting taught me to appreciate the small blessings along the way. God's grace was evident in the everyday moments, reminding me that He was always with me, even in the waiting. Patience became more than just a virtue. It became a lifeline. I realized that waiting on God was not a passive activity, but an active trust in His perfect plan and timing. As I waited, I found peace in the assurance that God was in control. He was not ignoring my prayers. He was preparing me for something greater than I could imagine. 21. When the breakthrough finally came, it was more magnificent than I had ever dreamed. God's blessing arrived right on time, filling my heart with joy and gratitude. The years of waiting faded in comparison to the overwhelming sense of God's faithfulness. He had not forgotten me. He had been working all along to bring about His perfect plan. I now see that every moment of waiting was a step closer to God's divine purpose for my life. His faithfulness was evident in every answered prayer and every blessing received. The blessings that came were not just answers to my prayers, but also testimonies of God's goodness and timing. He knew exactly what I needed and when I needed it. My story is a testament to the fact that God's timing is always perfect. He may not come when we want, but He always comes right on time, with blessings that exceed our expectations. 26. To those who are in a season of waiting, know that God has not forgotten you. He hears your prayers and sees your tears. Trust that He is working behind the scenes for your good. Waiting on God requires faith and patience, but it is always worth it. His blessings come at the perfect time, bringing joy and fulfillment beyond measure. Remember that God's delays are not denials. He has a plan and purpose for every moment of your waiting. Hold on to His promises and trust in His timing. In moments of doubt, remind yourself of God's faithfulness in the past. He has come through before, and He will do it again in His perfect time. Every prayer, every tear, every moment of waiting is known to God. He is with you in the process, preparing something wonderful for you. Trust Him, and you will see His goodness unfold. 31. It takes great faith to wait on God, especially when it seems like nothing is happening. But faith is what sustains us, giving us the strength to hold on and believe in His promises. During my waiting period, I found solace in God's Word. Scriptures that spoke of His faithfulness and perfect timing became my anchor, giving me hope and encouragement. Worship became a powerful tool in my waiting season. Praising God even when the answers were delayed strengthened my faith and reminded me of His sovereignty. Surrounding myself with a community of believers who encouraged me and prayed with me made a significant difference. Their support and faith helped me stay strong during the wait. Looking back, I realize that my waiting season was not just about receiving a blessing, but about growing closer to God. It deepened my relationship with Him and strengthened my trust in His plans. 36. God's plans are always better than our own. He knows the desires of our hearts and the perfect time to fulfill them. Trusting His plan brings peace and assurance. In my waiting, I learned that God's no is often a setup for a greater yes. His plans are higher, and His timing is always perfect, even when it seems delayed. God's timing is not just about the destination, but also about the journey. Every step, every delay is part of His perfect plan to shape us and prepare us for His blessings. Trusting God's timing means surrendering our own desires and timelines. It means believing that His ways are higher and His plans are perfect, even when we don't understand. God's timing is a testament to His sovereignty and love for us. He knows what we need and when we need it, and His timing is always for our good and His glory. 41. Patience is a virtue that is developed in the waiting. It teaches us to trust God more deeply and to rely on His strength rather than our own. Waiting on God builds our character and faith. It teaches us perseverance and endurance, qualities that are essential for receiving His blessings. The waiting period is a time of preparation. God is preparing us for the blessings He has in store, making sure we are ready to receive them. Patience in the waiting leads to a deeper understanding of God's love and faithfulness. It reminds us that He is always with us, even in the delays. The blessing of patience is the peace that comes from trusting in God's timing. It is the assurance that He is in control and that His plans are perfect. 46. God's promises are never late. They are always fulfilled in His perfect time. We can trust in His word and rely on His faithfulness. In my waiting, I held on to the promises of God. They were my source of hope and strength, reminding me that He is faithful to His word. God's promises are a testament to His unchanging nature. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and His timing is always perfect. Every promise of God is an assurance of His perfect timing. He knows the desires of our hearts and fulfills them in His perfect way and time. Trusting in God's promises means believing that His timing is always right. It means having faith that He will come through, even when the wait is long. 51. To those who are waiting, do not lose heart. God's timing is perfect, and His blessings are on the way. Keep believing, keep trusting, and you will see His faithfulness. Waiting on God is not in vain. Every moment is part of His perfect plan. Trust that He is working behind the scenes for your good. In moments of doubt, remind yourself of God's past faithfulness. He has come through before, and He will do it again in His perfect time. Hold on to hope even in the waiting. God's timing is impeccable, and His blessings are worth the wait. God's timing is a reflection of His love for us. He knows what we need, and when we need it, trust in His perfect timing, and you will see His goodness unfold. 56. My journey of waiting has taught me that God's timing is always perfect. He may not come when we want, but He always comes right on time. The blessings that came after years of waiting were more than I could have imagined. God's timing was perfect, and His faithfulness was evident in every detail. Trusting in God's timing has brought me peace and assurance. I know that He is in control and that His plans are always for my good. To those who are waiting, I encourage you to trust in God's perfect timing. He is never late, and His blessings are on the way. Remember that God's timing is always perfect. He knows the desires of your heart and will bless you in His perfect time. Hold on to His promises and trust in His faithfulness. Your blessing is on the way. As we wrap up this journey together, I hope my story has filled you with hope and encouragement. Remember, God's timing is not just a cliché. It's a profound truth that can transform our lives if we embrace it fully. Every moment of waiting is an opportunity to grow closer to Him, to deepen our faith, and to prepare our hearts for the blessings He has in store. Reflect on the times in your life when God's perfect timing became evident. Let those memories be a source of strength and reassurance as you face new challenges and periods of waiting. Know that He is working behind the scenes, weaving together a beautiful tapestry of your life that will unfold in His divine time. Thank you for joining me today. I pray that you continue to trust in God's perfect timing and find peace in knowing that He is never late. Stay encouraged, stay hopeful, and keep believing that your breakthrough is near. God's blessings are worth the wait, and His faithfulness will shine through in your life. Until next time, stay blessed and keep the faith.